There's enough in your vortex to keep you thriving for 20 or 30 lifetimes. That's how dynamic it is. That's how big it is. And you want some of it. How are you going to get it? You got to get into receptive mode. You've got to think like your inner being thinks in order to be in that receptive mode. There's something else that we want to say to all of you. Hear this. It really applies to you, but it applies to all of you. Esther used to say to Jerry every now and again, I don't want to hurt their feelings. And Jerry would say, you'd rather hurt your feelings? And Esther would say, no, but she meant yes. Because it's easy when you know you're strong and you know you have resources, it's easy for you to do what somebody else seems to need or want, even if you can feel that it's not on your path. But after a while, it begins to take a toll on you because your attention to it splits your energy. So what we are proposing to all of you for just a little while, try it. You're going to like it. And you're going to come back into your true empowerment. When you bump up against something that doesn't feel good. Now, start again. Esther said to us, Abraham, what do you think I should do about this? And we said, I think you should do what feels best to you. And Esther said, I am so tired of hearing that from you. We think you should do what feels best to you. We think that you should do what feels best to you every time. We think you should do what feels best to you. But before you can really know what feels best to you, you've got to practice feeling pretty good. You can't go from suffering and jump right into even have any clarity about what feels best to you, because when you've been suffering, all the choices suck so badly that none of them feel good. So it just feels like a crossroads. It feels like two bad paths, and that's what it is. Those are not good choices. But when you have cared about the way you feel, so you're feeling good more and more and more and more, so then something comes along and it doesn't feel good to you. And Esther said, but Abraham, I thought what you've been teaching me is that if I will unconditionally just focus on what I want, that the things I don't want will go away. We said, yes, that's exactly right, but you're not doing that. You're focusing on something that you don't want and then using words and writing 500 focus wheels about it. We said it would be like going to a restaurant or to a buffet, and here is something that you cannot stand. It just gives you the creeps to even think about putting it in your mouth. And you say, need to write some focus wheels. I'm going to write some focus wheels. I'm going to make a list of positive aspects of that. I am going to line up with that thing I do not like. I'm going to do focus wheels until I can eat that unconditionally with pleasure. And we say, you've been missing the point. We're not trying to get you in alignment so that you can make conditions change or so that you can change yourself to like the conditions. You were born with guidance, and it's all right for you to not like something. It's not your job. So let's say there's a condition that presents itself to you, and you bump up against it, and you bump up against it, and you bump up against it, and you write 500 focus wheels, and you're still bumping up against it because it is someone making choices that are not aligning with your path. But you don't give yourself permission, worthy beings that you are, to follow your own path. No, you feel like you have to be in service. You feel like it's your job to make this work out no matter what. No, it isn't. It's your job to follow the path of least resistance. So the source within you knows where you stand in relationship to everything you want and knows the path of least resistance to get you to it. And you step over there way off the path, but your source is still calling you back and calling you back and calling you back. But it's as if you say, no, source, alignment, guidance, source, God, I need to do it the hard way in order to prove my worthiness. And we say, we want you to prove your worthiness by understanding what feels good. We want you to follow the path of least resistance. We want you to get on the path that feels good. It isn't wrong for you to choose this rather than this, or this rather than this. That's why you were born into an environment of contrast. in a world where everybody gets to choose. Where it gets squirrely for you is that you all sort of get together and try to define what everybody should choose. And then you get into fights with each other about who's choosing what, where if you just understood you all get to choose what you want, when you line up with what you want, you'll find the power to feel the fulfillment and the exaltation and the exhilaration and the passion and the success and the fulfillment that you're reaching for, you see. You got to let everybody else off the hook and stop beating up on yourself if you choose not to play with them. But that's hard. Ooh. Shouldn't I be able to play with everyone? We say, that's a really conditional approach to life. Now you got to get them to behave. Or now you got to adjust your vibration. Now you got to give up all of the sifting and sorting and deciding and concluding and deciding and concluding and becoming. You got to rewind all of that in order to blend with this. Are you hearing us? Yeah. So the question is, am I in alignment with who I am, or am I going to line up with what they want? We don't see why that is a hard choice for you, knowing what you give up when you line up with them instead of with who you really are, you see. These are not difficult choices, but it's hard for most of you because others have taught you that selfishness is not virtuous. That looking out for yourself and doing what feels good to you will lead you to selfishness, will deprive others of something that they need from you. But what they've forgotten is none of them were going to get it from you anyway. They were all going to get it directly from source. That's their misunderstanding. And you perpetuate their misunderstanding when you try to be the source that gives them what they want. You see, Esther has a dear friend who lives in another country. She's been helping him out financially for years, trying to bring it to an end to help him find his independence. And finally he said, where is it? And Esther said, it's not coming from me anymore. You have to find your own independence. Please, 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 please. I'm counting on this. Esther said, I know you are. And that's what's wrong with all of this. You're counting on it coming from a place it should never have been coming. Not for this long. Not for this long. I am insulting you when I assume that I am your path of least resistance. I insult you. You have direct access to all of the energy that creates worlds. You have direct access. But no, I've made you believe in your dependency on me. Had to get really big before Esther realized it, you see. And then she realized she was not only setting herself free from diverging from her path, she was setting him free too, you see. He doesn't know it yet, but he will in time. He will find his way. He will find his way, you see. Enough?
Yes, I got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I love you.